Consumers will have to dig deeper into their pockets, and ANC supporters gather at the Pretoria Heart Hospital. I'm Lebo Changela with this news update. Consumers will have to dig deeper into their pockets to cater for transport costs, as the price of all grades of petrol will increase by 84 cents next week. This will bring the price of 93 octane petrol to exactly 13 rand, and that of 95 octane to 13 rand 23. Diesel will go up by 78.2 cents per litre, increase in the wholesale price of both grades. Illuminating paraffin will increase by 75 cents per litre. Economists say the weaker rand has pushed the high petrol increases. More increases in the price of petrol are expected this year as the rand continues to depreciate against major currencies. Economist Laura Campbell.
The price of petrol is set to rise sharply by 84 cents per litre next week, and this has mainly been due to the ongoing weakness in the rand exchange rate over the course of June, which has raised the cost of oil imports. The effect on inflation is likely to be significant. The overall inflation rate will rise by 0.9% in July, and this ties in with the view that the Reserve Bank is unlikely to cut interest rates again this year.
South Africans and ANC supporters are gathering at the Pretoria Mediclinic Heart Hospital, where former President Nelson Mandela is receiving treatment. Mandela's condition remains critical but stable. Health Minister Adam Motsoaledi, Free State Premier Ismail Shule, and ANC National Spokesperson Jackson Tembu are among those who are visiting the hospital. Shule spoke to Mandela's daughter Makaziwe as well as other family members. Tembu has refuted suggesting that the ANC is electioneering outside the hospital. Shule has told the media that Madiba is doing well. Meanwhile, the Eastern Cape High Court in Tata has granted the Mandela family an order forcing grandson Mandla Mandela to allow the return of remains of some family members from Mvezo village to Qunu. Mvezo is the birthplace of the ailing statesman, where Mandla is the chief. Ndileka Mandela, the daughter of Thembi Mandela, Madiba's late son, has told the SABC that they will not comment on the case because it is a private family matter. And the AIDS Health Foundation in South Africa says U.S. President Barack Obama's decision last year to cut U.S. funds for AIDS is putting strain on their efforts to fight the disease. Obama announced in his budget for 2013 fiscal year that he would cut funding for the global AIDS program by over $200 million. Director of the foundation, Hilary Tulare, has told the media in Pretoria that the cutting of funds has caused a deadly impact around the world. Today's visit coincides with the U.S. President's arrival in the country this evening for an official visit. Tulare says if the funds are not increased, they will lose the fight against the epidemic.
This is going to put a strain on our resources, and we may never achieve the goal of making sure that as many people as possible are put on treatment. We know that South Africa is the epicenter of the epidemic, and if we don't fight hard, if we don't put more resources, we may lose the battle, the gains that we made in the last 10 years. So we're urging President Obama to keep the promise on AIDS and continue funding programs for HIV and AIDS and TB in the continent and in South Africa.